We are live. We are live. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we are live here on the Midweek Huddle, 6 p.m. Wednesday night. I have a question for you, Huddle community. Are you a content creator who's struggling with the learning curve of live streaming? Well, this evening on the Midweek Huddle, we're going to be talking about 5 important tips you need to be able to learn, 5 important skills you need to develop over time in your live stream journey. And we're starting, and we're starting, and we're starting right now. Praise the Lord, everyone. Welcome to the Huddle. I'm your host, Walter Strong. If you're new here and you want to broaden your reach, your impact, and income through online video, we welcome you to the show. And as we said this evening, we're going to be talking about 5 important skills over time you need to develop in your content creation live streaming journey. 5 skills in this live streaming journey. And so we're going to get into this content on this midweek huddle, helping you to make sure you are developing the right skills when you go live. And if you're watching us this evening on YouTube this morning, there I go. If you're watching me on YouTube this evening, let me know in the chat where you're watching me from. If you're watching me on LinkedIn, also let me know in LinkedIn where you're watching. We want to say good evening to my dear sister, Miss Florence Equipped Institute. Good evening. Good evening. I'm so excited for round 2 of your next live stream that you're going to be doing. And also we have in the chat, Mr. Real Chicago in the house. Good evening, sir. Good evening. Good evening. And so those of you who are joining me, give me a hashtag Team Live in the chat section. And those of you who are going to be watching the replay up to this point, do me a favor in the comment section, give me a hashtag Team Replay. And to my online listeners, my online let's just be nice, online listeners who are checking us out, whether you're at work or coming home from work, listening in the car, on your mobile phone, or if you're in the gym working out, or if you're just at home watching me on the smart television, we want to say good evening to you. So without further ado, let's fire up the Stream Deck and get into these skills that I believe each content creator over time must learn, develop in live streaming. Because with live streaming, there's so many benefits that you can enjoy on whatever platform you're on that you can do a part of your live streaming. But you know what? Before I get into these tips, I said I wanted to do something just a little different tonight here on the stream. So let me just go ahead, and we haven't did this in a while. Cue that up. Yeah, there we go. We got some background music. Perfect. So let's get into these tips on these live stream skills. Real Chicago Equip Institute, let me know if that's just a little too loud, if it's drowning me out, or if I'm drowning it out. Hopefully it's just perfect. If not, we can definitely adjust that with the background music. So live streaming allows me and you to be able to connect with our audience when we go live in a real-time way. It also allows me and you as content creators to be able to not only connect, but address concerns that your viewers may ask, that you provide the opportunity to engage through a Q&A session or just acknowledging comments. And then live streaming also allows me and you to be able to build a community as a live stream host with your viewers, and also your viewers that are in the chat as well. building community with one another. So these are just 3 great benefits that I find that, live streaming is just an enjoyable thing to do on whatever set platform you do it on. But to experience and being able to connect with your viewer, to be able to address pain points and concerns, and be able to build community, I believe that there are 5 skills that me and you have to learn and develop over time. These skills, when we first start live streaming, some of them may be available to us because we may have done them in our 9-to-5 work job or experience, or we've did it through just other things that we do in life. But however, what skills we bring to the table, we have to make sure at least these 5 skills are working in our content creation journey. So the first one that I want to talk about is tip number 1. Let me get this here. There we go. Tip number 1 is we got to do our research. You got to do your research when you're doing a live stream. I think we're past the days of doing live stream where, at least for me, when I first started doing live stream, I would just be spontaneous, caught up as a prisoner in the moment, and just go live with no real idea or topic of what I wanted to talk about. I know I wanted to go live, but I really didn't have any structure or format. So I'm just gonna go live and just talk, and just hope that someone is willing to participate and be a part of the stream. In most cases, if I didn't schedule my stream out, if I didn't plan out my stream in terms of what topic and ideas I wanted to cover, the live stream in most cases was not very successful. And so it's important that we develop that research skill. And if we're going to live stream, having the time to research and say, this is the topic or the content idea I want to talk about. So let me just gotta do some research on it. Let me see what other videos are out on YouTube about this, and how can I lend my voice to continue the conversation. And the reason why I say lending your voice to continue the conversation, you're seeing it from the perspective of, yes, think media may have made a video on, of is it too late to start on YouTube? Nick Nimmin may have did a video on, is it too late to start on YouTube? But if you're going to do a live stream that's talking about why it's not too late to start on YouTube, you're basically adding and building on the conversation that's already started, whether 3-6 months ago. And so you want to do your research on it. Some of the ways you can do your research is you can use the YouTube search bar and just begin to search and see what videos are out there, see what type of how long they've been posted, what type of views have those videos got. Go into some of them and see what comments have been made on those videos through the replay of whether those videos were uploaded or live streamed. Looking at the comment section and see what the conversation has been about, and if there's been some questions asked, and if that person of that channel hasn't addressed those questions, those unanswered questions now provide you the opportunity to start putting together your live stream to address those questions that those viewers had. So using the YouTube search bar. On top of that, looking at Google Trends. If you're going to be doing a live stream around the holiday time, with us going into Halloween and into Thanksgiving and into Christmas, into the new year, looking at Google Trends in terms of, what's trending right now that you may want to do a live stream on. As we know, Black Friday is going to be coming up. You're going to have a Small Business Saturday, and you're going to have Cyber Monday. So being able to use Google Trends to kind of see what the conversation is on Google Trends and to begin to formulate your format of what your live stream is going to be about. And then lastly, you can use TubeBuddy, TubeBuddy or vidIQ, whatever your preference, and be able to do some research on how you want to put your live stream together. Doing your research so that you have a compelling title, you have a searchable description, and you've done your research even on your thumbnail. One of the mistakes that I used to make in first starting out the live streaming was that I would put all of this stuff together and do my thumbnail last before I go live. But now I put that all part of the planning process on working on putting together a thumbnail that's really going to pop and grab the attention of my viewer, not just on desktop, but on mobile. And so doing your research is important, and developing that research skill is one of the skills you have to develop over time in your live stream journey. Tip number 2. What happened here? Gonna work this out. Gonna press through this technical stuff. There we go. Tip number 2. There we go. Camera presence. And I appreciate you, Real Chicago, letting me know the music sounds good, and Equip Institute. Camera presence. That is another skill that me and you have to develop, because the truth of the matter is, when we all started on YouTube, if we didn't come from a career background of cinematography and being able to work with cameras and using cameras in our everyday life, using cameras to take pictures was one thing, but now getting in front of the camera and pressing record and getting in front of the camera and go live, that can be a very intimidating task to do. And so being able to have camera presence is important. And once you begin to work on and to develop that skill, it will help me and you to be more confident when we go live. And so some of the things I want to talk about is, when you live stream, get yourself in a very comfortable setting in place where you live stream. Because if you're in a comfortable setting, a comfortable place where you're going to live stream, you're going to be relaxed. You in terms of you being nervous and having those, pre-jitter butterflies before you go live or before you press record to do that video, being in a comfortable place where there's minimum distractions and you can just be able to get in front of the camera and go live is going to play an important part in you being able to develop the skill of camera presence. On top of that, posture. Being able to have the right posture when you're sitting down, having a good chair when you're sitting down and going live, and having the right posture so you're not slouched over or leaning over, or you're just, you're in a position where you're not in frame with the screen where people can clearly see you and see you presenting confidently. So you want to have the right posture. You want to be sitting upright. You want to be in a comfortable place. But most importantly, and this is something I work on every live stream, I work on every replay when I'm putting in my chapters, when I'm optimizing my live stream for the replay, is going back and watching the replay of my live streams or my shorts or short content, and always looking, am I making eye contact with the camera? Because it's important to me as a live stream creator that I'm connecting with you, the viewer. And the best way that I know how to really connect with you is if we are sitting across one another at the table, is making eye contact with the camera. And so if that's something that you are struggling with, having that comfort level, which Real Chicago says is really key in the chat section, making sure that you're making eye contact. Yes, you also have to deal with navigating with comments in the chat, doing your presentation with your slide or using banners in StreamYard. All of that still has to be done. But most importantly, you always want to work on making eye contact with your viewer. And as you work on that, you build the confidence to be on camera when you go live. Hey, if you're getting great value out of this live stream this evening, we're talking about 5 skills that me and you need to develop in our live stream journey. Do me a favor, click the thumbs up, smash the like button, share this on your favorite social media platform so that another live streamer, another content creator that you know may say, man, I am so glad you shared this with me because I needed this to work on these skills to become a better creator. So do them or do her that favor. Tip number 3. Tip number 3 is you want to find your creative voice. You say, Brother Walter, what do you mean by finding your creative voice? Well, finding your creative voice, in my humble opinion, is about finding your creative passion. What are you passionate about creatively? When you begin to find out what you are passionate about creatively, though you may not have the skills when you're first starting, but when you find out what you're passionate about creatively, you begin to develop and to find your voice. And sometimes it takes a process of maybe learning from other content creators that you may watch. It may take maybe learning from other public speakers that you may watch on TED Talk. But whoever that person is, as you begin to kind of see that individual, you begin to say, okay, that's how they do their presentation. I'm hearing their creative voice as a speaker or a person who's in front of the camera. It's the same process for me and you. So how do you find that creative passion? I believe simply you have to, first of all, get away from the noise that is external, that you may be hearing from others. But most importantly, the noise that you may be hearing within your own self, between your own 2 ears. Because sometimes that noise that you're hearing between your own 2 ears is basically just another form of imposter syndrome. You have the goods. You have the capability to learn the skills of being able to find your creative voice. But that noise of imposter syndrome tries to make you feel like you're just not good enough, and maybe you just don't have what it takes to bring to the table. So you have to be able to silence that noise so that you can be able to find your creative voice. On top of that, finding your creative voice can be about looking at what hobbies and interests that you may have and that you want to talk about. You begin to find your creative voice that way through the gifts and talents that you may have. But most importantly, understanding it's a discovery process and you finding your voice. And when you find your voice, you'll know you're not trying to sound or be like, the next content creator that has over 10,000 subscribers, or the YouTuber who has over 1 million views. You will find your voice over time. So take the time in developing the skills and finding your creative voice. Discovering also your creative voice means, I believe, also taking a look within yourself and getting to know yourself better. Are you a person who's an extrovert, who doesn't mind being around people? Or are you an introvert who's not as willing to be around a lot of people and is not really comfortable in being around camera? But as you push through those things about not being comfortable on camera and you spend time getting to know who you are so that your audience can get to know you, you begin to find your voice as a content creator. So take the time to find your creative voice. I'm going to drop down and pull a couple of comments here. Real Chicago says it took him a couple of years to be able to find your voice. I agree. But the key is it's about sticking with it. Sticking with that process that you find your voice that you know that is uniquely and that describes who you are as the person. You know, some of the people that I used to watch in my beginning days of content creation was, yes, I would watch the Sean Cannells from Think Media, the Nick Lemons on Nick Lemon and Daryl Eves. But I would also watch people in television like Don Lemon from CNN. I would watch Joshua Johnson from MSNBC. I would watch Chris Como from CNN. They do something completely different, but they still had to get in front of the camera and speak to an audience. And as a result of watching them week after week, or depending on how often I would watch them, I would see that what made them having confidence to be able to do their job in the way that they needed to do was because they understood that they found their creative voice. That creative voice in being able to get to the heart of the matter and the issue that they wanted to share with their audience. When you begin to really tap into your passion and when you tap in what you feel is important, and when you're not speaking from up in your head, but from your diaphragm, you begin to find your creative voice. And so this is a skill. As Real Chicago says, it for some, it takes a couple of years, but stick with it. You will find your voice. It's interesting, when God created me and you with over 7 billion people on the planet, not two people don't have the same fingerprints. They don't have the same personalities and quirks that me and you have. And they certainly don't have, me and you, our own unique creative voice. Tip number 4. Can we get to a tip number 4? There we go. Tip number 4. Tip number 4, engagement. Engagement is a skill of doing live streaming, because when we first start out doing that first live stream, for some may be fortunate, they may have a committee of people, a community of people ready to cheer you on when you hit that go live, and they're all there to support you in that first live stream. But then what happens is, maybe that second or third or fourth live stream, you start to see the numbers drop. And you're like, man, I'm only live streaming to a handful of people. Or you may have those moments where you're live streaming to nobody. And so the skill of being able to engage with your viewer, I believe, really begins to be refined when you go through those live streams where you only have 1 to 2 people. And I'm fine with that. I consider, when my live streams like this, that means I have 2 coaches that is live on the chat on YouTube or LinkedIn. So I got the offensive coach, I got the defensive coach. So one coach is working with me on my defensive skills, and the other coach is working on my offensive skill. But then the next week I may have a live stream with maybe 20 to 30 people. So how I performed when the numbers were small will also dictate how I engage with the viewers when they are much more. So learn to engage with your viewers. Develop that skill. Take that time to acknowledge when someone is in the chat, rather being able to pull them up and display their comments, or to be able to, answer a question or a pain point that they may have. We're talking about, what tip we're on? 5 tips on developing the live streaming skills that you need to have in your live stream journey, If you're watching me here on YouTube, let me know where you're watching me from. Drop in the chat where you're from and give us a hashtag Team Live. And if you're watching me on LinkedIn, give me a hashtag Team Live and let me know where you're watching us from. And oh yeah, the best part, engagement. Click that thumbs up. Share this live stream on your favorite social media platform. And if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel of The Huddle, do me a favor, click that subscribe button, click the alert notification button, so when we go live, you will be alerted that we're live and you'll get great value through our next live stream. Tip number 5, being consistent. Being consistent, not just in terms of pressing the record button and going live each week, rather if it's, every Tuesday at 7 p.m. or going like some people who like leader challenges, they want to go live every day for 31 days. If whatever you feel that your capacity for live streaming is, make sure when it's all said and done, you're being consistent. Being consistent, yes, in uploading and going live, but being consistent in your message. Because what I found with the more you do something repetitiously, what can happen is if the message is not consistent, you can cause a disconnect with your viewers. And when your viewers are saying, well, hey, wait a minute, you were just talking about this subject last week, and now you're way over here talking about vlogging. You were talking about live streaming gear, the best live streaming gear for a budget of under $500. Now, next week, you're talking about vlogging. That's not being consistent. And as a result, you can end up having a disconnect with your viewer where now they're not engaged to want to watch you go live for 31 days. So if it's going live 31 days since October, we're in October, 31 days for October. Or if you're going live every week, here at The Huddle, we go live every 2 times a week, Wednesdays and Saturdays. It's about being consistent with the message so that your viewers, your community can build upon the content that you talked about 2 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. It all connects and builds together on helping to add value in the area of the life in their lives. They need value added. So you want to be consistent with the message. But most importantly, you want to pace yourself. Just because someone is doing a 31-day challenge going live does not mean that you have to succumb to the online peer pressure. And I realize this may not be popular, but I realize that I'm not a politician, and so I'm not running for president. So being popular is not all that important to me. But you want to pace yourself at the pace you're comfortable with and being consistent at. So that way you don't get burnt out. You don't get frustrated when you don't see the results you thought you should be seeing through your uploading and you going live. Pace yourself at the pace that you're comfortable with, where you can be consistent at, not at someone else's pace where they feel they want to be consistent. Because YouTube is not a sprint, it's a marathon. So just because someone wants to do a sprint for the last 31 days and going live doesn't necessarily mean you need to be sprinting with them, because I'm not sprinting with them. I'm just going to take the route of the marathon. And yeah, they may have run the 200 or the 400, I prefer to run the marathon because in the marathon, I'm going to develop the right skills that I need in live streaming. And being consistent also is a skill that we have to develop, because it develops the skill of discipline. Passion will take me and you only so far, but there does come a point where we'll hit a point where we're like, yeah, I know I'm passionate about this, but I'm tired right now. I don't have anything prepared right now to be able to go live with. But because I told my community I would be live at 6 p.m., I'm going to hit the go live button, and I'm going to be real and transparent and say, hey, I'm live tonight, but unfortunately I don't have anything prepared. So how about we do this? Let's have a little Q&A live stream chat. You're being consistent. You're being transparent, and you're being real with your audience. So even when those times happen, be consistent and develop the skill of being disciplined. Summary time. We talked about doing your research. Doing your research helps you with developing the skill of having research skills. And these same skills that you develop can even translate even into your 9-to-5 career and job that you do Monday through Friday, or the business that you own. You have to do a certain amount of research before you determine and say, okay, this is what I'm going to present to my client or to my customer that's in front of me. So doing your research, building and working on your camera presence is a skill, because what I find is when you learn to be confident on camera and you have camera presence going live, then when you have to stand in front of a group of fellow employees to do a presentation, that won't be a problem for you, because you've already now developed the camera presence and the confidence on camera going live in front of potentially millions of people who have yet to see your live stream in the days to come. But because you have the courage to crush your fears, you now have the confidence to be able to go in a boardroom and do a presentation by having camera presence. Finding your creative voice, getting to know yourself, your hobbies, your interests, your talents and abilities. Taking that time to find your creative passions will help you to find your creative voice as a live streamer. Engaging with your viewers. Acknowledging them when they're in the chat, acknowledging your live viewers, acknowledging your replay viewers, acknowledging the crew, the posse, the online squad of Team Replay is vital and important. And then finally, being consistent. Not just being consistent in the upload scheduling or when you go live, but being consistent in your message. These are 5 skills that I have developed over the last 2 years, and I'm still working on. I haven't fully arrived to the finish line, but I've developed enough of these skills that I can share with you and tell you that they're critically important to your development as a content creator when you go live. So if you're struggling on research, hold up before you hit that go live button. Take that extra time and work on the research, on the content that you want to do. Work on that compelling title that's going to grab that viewer, whether the live viewer or the replay viewer. Work on that description section. Do your research through the YouTube search bar, through Google Trends, or through TubeBuddy or vidIQ. Work on the skill of research, and then you put things together to go live. Work on the camera presence. If there's an issue with being confident on camera, partner up with a community like the Huddle community and let's work together. I had intended this live stream to be able to show my first video, just to give you an example about camera presence and how comfortable you may think you are on your first video, but time did not permit me to prepare that. So we will definitely look to do that next Saturday. This Saturday, the huddle is going to be at 9 a.m. Due to the commitment that I have at 11 o'clock. So I will make sure I have that first video when I did my first video, just to talk about camera presence and how you can improve upon what you did in your first live stream or your first video to become better over time. Finding that creative voice, engaging your viewer, and being consistent. That's our summary. Any questions? Any additional comments from the Huddle community? We would love to get your feedback. I know this is sort of a short presentation, but sometimes it's about not so much as going wide, but going deeper on certain topics or subjects that you can go deeper on to be able to pull more relevant truths, more gems through digging and mining. You know, when miners mine for gold, they don't just go wide across the river. They focus on a particular area, and then they just mine, and they go deep until they find those precious gems and precious items they want to mine. And so a topic like this is something we have to kind of mine on in developing our skills. And so I pray that this has added value to you who are in the chat, either on YouTube or on the live stream. And if there was one takeaway that you got from these 5 tips on developing skills as a live stream, just if you can, put them in the chat for me. I'll tell you the one skill, like I said, that I'm constantly working on to get better at each time is camera presence. Because I take the time after the live stream is over. My process is, after we end the broadcast, is we go in to start putting in our YouTube chapters. And yes, TubeBuddy has a function where I can just kind of pop them in, and put my YouTube chapters in and get them in that much quicker. I just do it the old-fashioned way and go from start to beginning, and I watch myself and say, okay, I did that good. Boom, there's an area of improvement right there. There was a time right there where I wasn't focused enough on the camera. And I got to get better at that, especially when you have guests come on. You have a tendency to kind of look at your monitor of the guest and not look at the camera. And so that's the area of improvement that I'm constantly working on. Would love to hear from the Huddle community. Those of you who are a part live this evening, what was your takeaway this evening on the skill that you have to work on? Put that in the chat for me. If you're just joining me, we're talking about 5 important skills that you have to develop as a live streamer in your YouTube content creation journey. And so I'd love to kind of get your feedback on what skill that you are working on, or skills that you're working on, or skills that you feel that you've got at an acceptable level that you can share that you have. Real Chicago says research. Definitely. Because when you work on the research skill tip, it's going to help you not to fall into that spontaneous trap of just, oh, I got to go live because, you know, my fellow content creator just did his live stream and he got over 400 views on his live stream over a couple of, I got to put something out. No. If you got to do your research on it, do your research, put it together. So that way you got the title, you got the topic, you got the description and that thumbnail. Sometimes the research, like you said, Real Chicago, of me looking at and saying, okay, let me spend some time and look at some thumbnails. What's making people really want to stop and click on some thumbnails? And how can I improve my thumbnail workflow to make better thumbnails? Being that majority of our viewers are on mobile. So I agree with you. Anyone else that's in the Huddle community that's joined us, we'd love to get your feedback. And we learn together, we grow together, we hold one another accountable together here in the Huddle community. If you're checking me out on LinkedIn, let me know in the comment section or the chat where you're watching me from. Give me a hashtag Team Live. If you're on LinkedIn, when you get a chance, pop over to YouTube and subscribe to the channel where we help you to broaden your reach, your impact, and income through online video. And click the alert notification button so that you'll be alerted when we go live. You will be notified to check it out, check the Huddle out, and get great value added to you. As I said, this Saturday, we're going to be live at 9 a.m. Have a commitment at 11 a.m. So we're going to be doing live streaming at 9 a.m. for just this Saturday. So we'll definitely be sending out an email to the Huddle community just to remind everyone. And if you're not able to be with us live, check out the replay, be a part of Team Replay, the crew, the posse, the online squad. So with that said, if there's nothing else to touch on, if there's any other comments or concerns, we will go ahead and bring this to a close. So as we close this out, I want to thank Real Chicago. I want to thank my dear sister Florence, Equip Institute, and my other online listeners who've been checking the Huddle out. We appreciate you participating in the way that you could. But when you get a chance, jump over to Team Replay, give us some feedback on, what's live streaming skill that you are working on that you have to help you get developed and get better as a content creator. Before I jump off, I do see a couple other comments just jumping in. So let's just boom. Thanks for hey, Real Chicago. I appreciate you, Equip Institute. I appreciate you being a part of this great live streams platform that we are putting together as a team, holding one another accountable where we can help bring out the best of one another. That's what it's all about. So I'm glad this has added value in helping you to be much better in your area of research or Equip Institute, whatever skills that stood out to you to help you to become much better. That well is also. So as we close out, many are the plans in a person's heart, but despite those plans we may have, it's the Lord's purpose that he has that he wants to prevail. So make a quality decision this day to let God's purpose prevail in your life. We will see you on Saturday morning, 9 a.m. for the Huddle. Good night, everyone.